Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today to do Bleach Chapter 535 review. That is 3-5. Now listen, man. Listen, yo. The last Bleach Chapter review that I did, on point. That's crazy, man. On point. Because in this week's chapter, it was, in this week's chapter, what I was saying was confirmed to like a 99 or no 95% degree. When you exclude Fullbringer and then you put in human, then I'm set. Then I'm set. And because that's this week's chapter. This week's chapter is exposition, talking about three main things. Number one, hollification. Number two, soul suicide. And number three, balance. And I mean, that's what it is. The thing about, because like, I mean, again, like the exposition is actually very important because it speaks about the whole entire scheme of hollification and how hollification, it blurred the line. And we already know this, but he's talking about it in more detail in this chapter of Bleach. How he talks about how it blurred the line between Shinigami and Hollow in order to attain a power increase, in order to go beyond the limitations of a Hollow and a Shinigami. However, this led to complications, which these complications then led to something that is known as soul suicide, where the blurring the line of souls, the attempted merging of souls, would lead to complications in the external realm, outside of the soul. And then this would cause the soul to actually, die. Even if the soul didn't want to, or even if the soul wasn't willing to, it'd actually die off. And the soul suicide is the end result. However, you can negate it by balancing out with some other attributes. Like he explained how, in this week's chapter, he explains how Hollow is balanced out with human. And Quincy is balanced out with Shinigami. So what he did with the visors back 100 years ago, what he did with Yodomaru and Hachi and Shinji and all of the visors, is that he injected them with this vaccine, and them being Shinigami and Hollow hybrids, he injected them with a vaccine that contained Quincy and human affiliations, Quincy light arrows and human souls. The human souls counterbalance with the Hollow, and then the Shinigami light arrows counterbalance with the the Quincy light arrows counterbalance with the Shinigami. And so like, that's the entire premise of this chapter. This chapter is that he's talking about how he did this. He did this with people before 100 years ago. Of course, like again, Shinji, Yodomaru, and yada yada yada, Hiyori, and so on and so forth. But what Misaki has to experience is something on a much more grander scale, where in order for her life to return to quote unquote normal, in order for her to actually return to the way things once were with her, Ishin has to counterbalance himself with her. His entire being has to counterbalance her. Right now, she is a Quincy Hollow hybrid. And so in order to counterbalance her, he has to literally give up his powers as a Shinigami, or at least a vast majority of them. I mean, he's still a Shinigami, but he's going to enter this shell. And when he enters this shell, he's going to be surrounded, or he's going to be infused with a vast quantity of human souls. And so the human souls that will encompass in the shell, and his original Shinigami soul, will counterbalance the Quincy and the Hollow that are now infused with Misaki. And that's it. Like, there's nothing more to say. Like, now we know. Now we understand what's going on here. Like I said in the last chapter review I did of Bleach, harmony. It's the harmony between these four quadrants that exist in the Bleach power scheme. I said Fullbringer, but Fullbringer technically they're humans. So I was kind of right in that sense. But the Fullbringer or the human counterbalanced with the Hollow, and the Shinigami counterbalanced with the Quincy. And Ichigo is, in a sense, the harmony. He is the end result of the merging of all four of these quadrants of power that exist in Bleach. And the only reason why, throughout the entire course of the Bleach series, the Shinigami side has been so predominant is because of the fact that Rukia was the one who gave her, his powers. Well, correction, no. Rukia gave her powers to him. Alright, there you go. I fumbled a little bit. Doesn't matter. No takes. Fuck that shit. And because of that, his Shinigami side was the one to awaken, and his Shinigami side was the one to become more predominant amongst all the other powers. I mean, even though he starts off as a human, his Shinigami side clearly takes premise over all the other powers when it comes to his overall combat scheme. His human side doesn't emit power. It's just there to counterbalance the Hollow side. So, that's the way it is. And like I said, Ichigo's prima strength should be when he literally has attained, or when he attains a balance of power with all of these four quadrants. Human / Fullbringer, Shinigami, Quincy, Hollow. And now we're seeing the foundation of this being set up in the this chapter of Bleach. So, I mean, that's it. There is nothing more I can say. I don't think so. No. But the chapter overall, I like the chapter. I do. Yeah. See, like, even though the chapter is all exposition, it's all talking, I like it. I think it was very informative. The fact that Urahara went into much more detail about explaining holification, about the blurring of the line, how it's the overflow and how it causes the soul to actually die, and thus it's called soul suicide because of its effect on the external world. But also how you can counterbalance it by giving it powers of the opposite end spectrum. And so like that to me was actually very nice because it was very informative, very detailed explanation, and it does set up as to why Ishin was the way he was. But I'm done. King of Lightning. The chaptering overall, even though it was mostly exposition, even though it was talking about things like mainly the holification, which we knew a majority about already, the fact that Urahara Kisuke went into the fact that he went into such detail explaining about it, and the fact that we have the whole entire soul suicide, and then the confirmation of the balance of these four quadrants of power, and how Ichigo is most definitely the end result of the four quadrants of power merging, then yeah, Ichigo, his sister, yeah, Yuzu, Karin, yeah. So, the chapter rating overall, I'll actually give it a good. I liked it. I did. Surprise, surprise. I mean, normally I'll give it okay, but I actually liked it. So, I'll give it a good chapter. So, I'm done. King of Lightning. You should, of course, rate, comment, and subscribe as always, and I'm signing out. Peace. Have a nice day.